We're not in Denmark anymore. In fact, we have escaped the cold spring and come to warm South Georgia to celebrate Easter with my family here on the Wilds farm. My parents have been married for 50 years, so we came to celebrate Easter with them. And in fact, my oldest niece just got married, so also to celebrate that. And since we're here, we thought we would show you what is blooming in my mother's garden here on the blueberry farm. And this is in fact a working blueberry farm, so you're going to see lots of blueberries. But until we get to that, we thought we would start up here at the fence that leads into my parents' farm and show you what's growing. So we've actually started with two new things just this past week. We planted some lavender up here. Some English lavender, Munstead. This is actually extremely new. We just planted it yesterday.
So tiny still.
We added two of these right next to the hellebores. We've been talking a lot about those here recently that my mom planted. We added the lavender here because, as you can see, this is that beautiful morning sun here in South Georgia. It's the end of March, and it's already super warm. So you can imagine the heat that these guys are going to get. There's also incredible drainage up here. The soil is really clayey. If you can show some of the dirt road there, Lars.
Right. Look at that. Red road.
Yeah, so there's a lot of clay, a lot of great drainage. So we felt like lavender would do really well here. The hellebores, while they don't love the full sun, they don't mind this morning sun. On the other side of the road, if we'll flip over there real quick, Lars, we also added some lavender that are going to get the evening sun, and some hellebores, but they're not doing so well because of that full sun. So we cut them back, and hopefully that'll help. But shall we walk down the lane and show you what else is growing in the garden?
That's a good idea. Maybe we show them, what about the Airbnb we fixed up?
We can flip around there, yeah. We've made a whole video about it, so we won't force you on a tour now. We'll give you the option of watching later.
Look at that.
But in the distance, you'll see it's over 100 years old. It was my great-grandfather's homestead. Several years now, we've been bringing it back to life. My sister, her family, Lars and I, my mom and dad. And now it's on Airbnb. So we brought it back to life, new roof, the whole 9 yards. And we have a whole tour that I will link somewhere above me, wherever YouTube lets me do that, so you can see what's going on in there.
So if you're ever in Alma, Georgia, you can come and visit.
You have a place to stay.
Right.
Great, so let's walk down the lane and see what else is growing. Okay, so we didn't make it very far down the lane. In fact, just right here behind us, these are longleaf pines that are really also long and tall. So my dad planted these, then we cleared out a whole bunch, and then he planted some rye to keep the winter weeds down. In the distance, you can see the fire pit that we built. It's right across from that property. So the fire pit that we built so that our Airbnb guests have something to do. We would love to plant wildflowers in here, but we're not here to take care of them. So.
And it's quite shady, so it has to be something that can grow under the shades in the summer.
Under the shade of these pines, yeah. Do we see any alligators in here? There are alligators in here, actually. My mom tells a story that she mows this section because it connects to the yard, and there was an alligator out here sunning one day. Whew, and jumped up and snapped at that lawnmower. But it's too cold for them right now this morning.
We have never seen any, but we have seen turtles though.
I've seen them as a kid. We saw alligators quite a lot of turtles, but you would see an alligator every now and again. But apparently they're still there. All right, we're making this walk a long way. Okay, we're almost at the house. We've got persimmon trees. We've got muscadine grapes growing on that vine over there. And then there's Malatsi walking to the house. That's a huge pecan tree. It comes quite late with its leaves. But now let's look at some flowers.
So my mother-in-law, she planted these really beautiful snapdragons and pansies. At home we call them stepmothers. Funny enough, we have quite a lot of laugh with the language difference here. But they are really pretty with the white. And she has up at the pecan tree some yellow ones as well. So they really give a pop of color here.
And this massive, I believe this is a hay fork, a hay something that was used in the old days to bale hay. If I'm incorrect, I'll put it in the comments. I'll double check with my dad, but I think that's what it is. But we put this here, that way people don't drive up the wrong way onto the property.
And then some perennial grass here next to it. So this is a very funny plant. This is called yesterday, today and tomorrow plant.
Isn't that crazy?
It's like an evergreen, and then they get these really purple flowers the first day, and then they turn more light purple, like lavender color, and then they almost turn into a white color, and it has a really nice smell, a scent to it too. They're really pretty.
And if you look in the background, actually, why don't we head over there and I'll explain what all these milk cartons are, because they're in every shot. So let me let you know what's going on in that little blueberry field over there. So these look like milk cartons or orange juice cartons or whatever type of carton, and in fact there are. We have milk behind you, we have soybean, we have orange juice, almond milk, all sorts of cartons. Basically these are new blueberry bushes, and my dad has these put on for several reasons. One is to keep the blueberry bush, because a blueberry bush is a bush, so to keep these little runners from just running out. He keeps this on to keep it nice and tall. Another one, when we fertilize, it keeps the fertilizer from going against the leaves or too close to the plant and then burning the plant. The second of all, it keeps weeds from growing directly around the plant and sort of competing with it. It's held up by 2 bamboo sticks on each side. And then when the plant is very small, they just slip it right on top. This will just sort of degrade away, compost away, go into the soil. And on the larger bushes that we'll show you later, you won't see these. But if you'll come in closer, Lars, these guys are almost ready.
And these are like 2 years old, these plants. Your dad said yesterday, look at that.
So they're on the way to being blue. Yeah, and hopefully by the end of April, these are southern high bush, so they grow really great here in this zone. So hopefully by the end of April, they'll already be ready for the first picking. They won't all be ready, but they'll definitely be ready for the first picking. So that's super great. We had a hailstorm yesterday, nothing crazy. Other parts of this county have, so that wasn't really great. So thank the Lord that the weather's cooperating and we're on our way to having blue berries. This one's already changing a little bit of color. You see a little bit of blush, nothing intense. If you can see that, if I can get out of the shadow.
Oh, there's even a flower on it too.
You can see that's...
Oh, where it is, sorry.
Yeah, a little bit of that blush color. Yeah, there's a bloom. Right? So that's what these milk cartons are for. And if you drive here around the south, you'll see them everywhere. So I thought I would go ahead and explain that before you think, wow, they're growing milk cartons. All right, let's go back to flowers.
And look at these. That's just started flowering, the Amaryllis. Aren't they beautiful?
Every time I see Amaryllis, you know who I think of?
Cool.
Danielle from North Lawn Flower Farm. Look at these. I think she'd be so proud.
And new buds coming.
Yeah, and you don't have to do anything to them here. They have been planted. You don't have to dig them up. They just keep coming back. We have more over by the old well.
So we have also pink ones. There's also red ones coming, I think.
Yeah.
Those are really pretty.
So we have this. So basically, as this is a working farm, you'll see some blackberries. So there's a blackberries there, blueberries behind us. So my mom has made this whole border around the property to separate the farm part from the yard part, because back in the day, this road, let me go slowly. This road, so there's the road that we walked in on. And people, when they would drive to the tobacco barn, which was in the very back of the property, they would drive straight through the yard. So my mom didn't think that was so great. So that's why the border was built, forcing people to drive around.
And as you can see, they laid as a mulch, but also like a weed carpet here and the decoration, but the long leaf pine straw.
It's really pretty. Right?
Really
It's really a southern thing. You'll see that a lot as well. And then...
that brings us to the...
Look at this.
Look at that, the bottle brush.
That is a pretty plant.
Can you see it there? So exotic looking.
Yeah, it looks like something from Jurassic Park.
Native to Australia, but really thrives. Here's a huge tree. And great for pollinators. The bees love it.
Yeah, yesterday afternoon the bees were crazy in this.
And here you can see how it really starts.
Hold on, let me
You
come
can see
closer.
there though. See how they are bundled up in there and then they just bloop.
And they just pop out.
And they really remind you of these things you clean the bottles with.
Yeah, bottle cleaners. It is really pretty.
So here we have a different color, like a bright yellow of the snapdragons. These are really tall, and she has planted them all around here. But since it's really on the sunny side, so this area really flowers first. And then a bunch of pansies here. And of course I have right away see like, oh, here, I always tell Nana that there's a bunch of seeds in these ones. You should collect them and grow more. But she just laughs and says, no, I'll just...
And these will flower until the heat. Hey, Malatsi. With this massive pecan tree. And if you'll see this fern, this is a resurrection fern. So like I said, we've had quite a few days of rain. None today, look at this blue sky. But this fern will really dry up and almost look dead until the rain comes, and then it resurrects.
We see even there, it looks like, even though it rained yesterday, it looks really dead.
Yeah,
there.
so there's that's what's happening when it gets the sun and then dries out. And then as soon as the rain comes, it'll really come back to life. And it doesn't hurt the plant or the tree. It just kind of hangs out, kind of like Spanish moss, just lives there.
Yeah. So here we had, like, as you can see, we had a huge orange tree here, but all of a sudden it wasn't really doing well, so we removed that. So the plan is here, the goal is that it will be full of lavender. So we planted them with quite a lot of space in between, the same variety as about the entrance at the fence. So the goal is here that it will be full of lavender and just really something for the bees to...
Yeah, and this will get that hot afternoon sun as well. So we hope they'll do nicely. And they should spread around 18 inches and grow around 18 inches as well. We get to use inches now that we're in America, Lars.
Right. So we had a fountain grass here that was looking really tired. So we removed all the dead ones, just clipped it. And then, as you can see, they're already starting to sprout here, new green buds coming. And we also divided it and put some baby ones over here. So it really fills out more space. It's less area for Nana to weed,
go and weed. And we have gravel here. Another story, when I was growing up, again, this is a farm in South Georgia, and you can get snakes. So when I was a kid, we had pine straw, we had azaleas around the house, and snakes were a problem. They loved to sort of hide in there. That's why the rocks, that's why everything is kept away from the house. But hopefully these grasses will be pretty and not a home for snakes.
There's a bunch of holes here. Look at those and you might wonder what is that. And it's from an armadillo. We don't have that in Denmark. So I saw one jumping yesterday. I was like, oh, so cute. And they just want to catch it and get rid of it. But
yeah, I think anyone in the South can identify with an armadillo in the yard. They used to have a dog, but had to get rid of him. Gave him to a nice family, so sadly. And he was helping to keep the armadillo away. Here's one of the orange trees that we cut down in the front. This is a Satsuma orange. We have another video of those growing at Christmas that I can show you. But that's that. And then Lars has been busy here in the backyard.
Sorry for the noise back here. Hope you can hear me.
The air conditioning is running.
But we had, it's called bear breeches. And it has this really green foliage, and then it gets like a flower. You can see one over here that is starting to come. So we had one over here and it was growing way too close to the bush, so we just divided them in we just pulled them apart, and then the goal is that it will really cover all this because it loves both sun and shady areas, so it'll be really filling out this whole space here really nicely.
And this is quite a shady area. It looks quite tropical. I'm surprised this grows in Denmark, but
it's called bjørnetissel, like a bear nettle.
A bear nettle.
Yeah.
Well, which makes sense, the bare breeches, I guess. We're only a few days away from Easter, so Easter lilies are about to come in and show out. Although, they are a few days away. It has been a colder winter, sort of a milder winter, milder spring than usual, so maybe they haven't, it's just not warm enough yet, but Easter lilies, they come up every year, really pretty. We were hoping they would flower before we left, but got a few more days, let's see what happens. So while we're here on this side of the property, I thought I would show you the blueberry harvester. Maybe you see blueberry harvesters all the time where you are, but if not, this is what one looks like. It's this whole massive piece of equipment. So this is what they use. The smaller berries that we showed you earlier had to be picked by hand, and some of the other varieties, depending on how tall they are, need to be picked by hand. The rest of the berries are picked with a harvester, and this is what one looks like. The driver sits up there, as well as, well, let me show you from the beginning. So the driver sits up there. This drives, if I'm a berry bush, this is where I am. So now the machine is driving over the berry bush. If you'll come this way, Lars, I'll try not to get trapped.
Okay.
These move. So I'm the berry bush, right?
Okay.
The machine is driving over me. Ta-da. These are shaking off my berries. So these are gently hitting me.
So arms out.
So these are hitting me. My berries are falling onto here, and they're going onto this conveyor belt. Let me sneak out. Okay. So this conveyor belt is taking the berries up and dropping them onto another conveyor belt where they go into big plastic lugs. I'm looking for one. Big plastic containers. Those are then stacked up. Then they're taken to the processing plant where someone picks them out, puts them in the pint cups that you buy in the supermarket. But yeah, so this is what a blueberry harvester does. Isn't that crazy? So basically it just beats the plant, and then the ripe berries will fall off. The ones that aren't ready yet will stay on. It's a massive piece of equipment, but pretty cool. Yeah. Okay, now we've made it to the front porch, and one of our favorites, one that Lars and I had never seen before, is this matchstick plant.
It's really, it's in a pot now, but it grows really like crazy and spreads very easily.
And it's in the same family, we had to look it up, but it's in the same family as a pineapple. One thing my mom has always told us is that there's not much soil in this pot, and that's because this type of plant grows really well on driftwood. It just sort of lives on top of other plants, and is really spectacular. Look at this.
It really has this special color. Like now it's a little bit faded, it'll have new buds coming, but it's also like in the beginning, bright purple, really vibrant color.
And native to, where did we say? Southern Brazil, right?
Brazil, yes. And the bees love it too. It's really a special one.
And she has quite a few. She's taking, pulling it apart and giving it away to friends and neighbors as well.
And she has some extra ones just sitting in the back, just forgotten all about it, and she's they're still
because
really
they don't
survive.
need anything. No. They don't need much soil, just water.
And this is where we sit.
In the rocking chairs.
Right. This is one of our favorite places when we come. We just like to sit on a rock.
This is so different to Denmark. The fact that you can just be outside in the rocking chair.
And Malachi loves to play outside all day until the sun goes down.
If only the blueberries were blue.
Yeah.
But a few more weeks. Blackberries are in bloom. See if I can get close enough to show. These beautiful, beautiful blackberries. Rows and rows of those. My parents have a blueberry U-pick. So if you are in Georgia, in the south, come on down. Here at the end of April, 1st of May, and you can pick all the blueberries that you want. These bushes are bigger. Let me see if I can get it, hold on.
I think they're
Little
around like
shady.
5 years old, these ones.
Beautiful.
Lots.
And you'll see the overhead irrigation. That's what those white, not only are they for irrigation, to keep them obviously irrigated, but if the temperature was to suddenly plummet at this stage, then he could turn it on and he could freeze the berries. Overhead winter protection. They made a whole video, my mom and dad, explaining it, so I will link to that before I dare try to explain overhead protection. Lars is over there laughing at me. Before I even try to explain it. But look at these blueberries. Just imagine if they were blue.
And we love the blue sky. Look at that. There's not a cloud in the sky.
No. So that was it. That was a little tour. My parents are at work today. Otherwise, I would have forced my mom to be here and be in the tour. I'll be sure to link to the videos where they explain a lot more about the blueberries, the different varieties that are out here, what the overhead protection, even the different pollination techniques that they use. I'll be sure to link to all of that. But in the meantime, if you are in South Georgia here at the end of April, month of May, check it out. There's a great U-pick. You just come, you pay for the bucket, and you can eat and pick all that you want. And if you're interested in staying in the Airbnb, I'll be sure to link that as well. But thanks so much for this little tour here in Alma, Georgia.
Tack för idag. Vi ses.